Okay. Can you hear? Tia? Can you? Okay, great.
So, just see.
Oh,
So
Raphael. Okay.
So, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of Tushita, it is a great honor, Rinpoche, to welcome you today. A very special welcome to you because you have come to this center after almost 40 years. In the sense, your previous incarnation was at Tushita to teach. So we have waited for 40 years for you to come back.
Took a quite long time, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some history with you.
Okay. I apologize for.
So we are really very, very fortunate and grateful to you for accepting to come here today and give us a teaching on the Four Noble Truths.
Thank you.
Just a brief introduction to Rinpoche. Serkong Tsenshap Rinpoche was born in 1984. And at the age of 2, Serkong Rinpoche pointed to a photo of the recently deceased Assistant Tutor of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and said, "That's me." When he was about 3 years old, he was recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the incarnation of Kyabje Tsenshap Serkong Tugse Rinpoche, who was born in 1914 and passed away in 1983. So, Rinpoche, when our center was in Shantiniketan in the early 80s, that's where you came before.
Oh.
So this is, over here you've come for the first time. Rinpoche began his Buddhist studies and training at Ganden Jangtse Monastery in South India. After deciding to continue his work for the Dharma as a layperson, he completed his education at the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics in Dharamsala. On the advice of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Rinpoche completed 3 years of intensive study of English in Canada. Currently, Rinpoche teaches at Dharma centers worldwide, combining his profound Buddhist knowledge and practice with an understanding of the modern world. His captivating teachings are characterized by his wisdom, humility, and humor. Rinpoche considers it an honor to carry on the teachings and responsibilities of Tsenshap Serkong Tugse Rinpoche, striving to benefit others to the fullest extent possible. Rinpoche, we are so grateful that very graciously you have agreed to come and give a teaching on the Four Noble Truths today. May I request you to teach?
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Sanje Chodon Soji Shunum Chancho Pado Dani Jabroji Daye Jinsu Gebe Sonam Je Jona Benje Sanje Drobre Shu Sanje Chodon Soji Shunum Chancho Pado Dani Jabroji Daye Jinsu Gebe Lola Benje Sanje Drobre Shu Sanje Chodon Soji Shunum Chancho Pado Dani Jabroji Daye Jinsu Gebe Lola Benje Sanje Drobre Shu 동인이 손도 주변 지지선자 간전된 줄 차나뱀 대전적 소원대소 신전 돈주를 쇼 점점 수로 끝났다 위 몇개선 탈번 주변 중앙주 제변 주변 탑견자버 현재 신인 교라 차즈로 반단 저별 담아좀 보치 다기 인거르면 대존나 가진 친벽원이 지소 고선도지 모주제도 Okay. You can hear me? You may well? Okay. Hey, how can you do that? It's on. Oh, that's off. Okay. Okay. Toshidele to everyone and people on online also. So few months back that you request me to come to Delhi Tushita and give a talk.
It was 7 months ago.
7 months ago, right? Yeah. And then
but Ranjit tried for the last 3 years.
Yeah. I consider this place, Delhi Tushita, very important, even though this is my first time coming here, because Delhi is a huge city, and the city means Gandhiji, when he said in the future there will be India, you try to find India, you might not find in cities now. You will find only in a village. That is a great message. So in a city where people are more into making lots of money, and then they all come from different places. So of course, many people does not have the support they need. I'm mostly trying to say when they are in stress, they need some kind of support. So that is in the cities, it's very difficult, very challenging. So then time to time, they need a special place like this. Okay. It's better? Okay. So I think this better, much better. Thank you. So this is a very important place. And for the last 30 years, right? That's what you said?
In this
place.
30
And then before?
Tushita was established in 1979.
Oh, from 1979 until now. So you guys been working very hard and for the maintenance to keep this going on. It takes lots of effort. So thank you for doing this. Now, the greatest thing that is having this center, what kind of a benefit that we can bring to the people in the city, which I'm not talking about the Buddhist only. People who have lots of anxiety, fear, depression, and then whatever you name it, they need lots of care. So at the beginning of what I just recite, this is a motivation to bring more bodhicitta. It's to expand your heart to others. So not to just expand, but we need to bring action, which is harder to do. So in this generation, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, when he described Buddhism in 3 different categories: Buddhist science, Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist as a religion. So then he always says, the first two, that we can do a lot. Buddhist religion, that's Buddhist business. So that's how he put it. I think even Buddha didn't make that kind of clear. Even Nagarjuna didn't make that kind of clear. But His Holiness left this strong message. So that really makes people like us to bring this kind of a platform to work and to bring more service. So now, as a today's topic, we are kind of going to discuss, I don't call it teaching or giving some kind of a big talk, because we need more discussions than just one person coming and giving a big talk and then he leaves away, and then you're not left with any kind of a inspiration or some kind of a motivation. Just stepping out from here, you just feel like, okay, up to now, this is what I'm doing. Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I was doing it right, but that wasn't enough. These kind of things, we need it. Just only listening to some guy, you cannot get this kind of improvement. So that's why also His Holiness Dalai Lama give this kind of he will always say, when I give the initiations, people just come and try to get lots of blessing from there. But I don't think just giving the initiation will give more blessing. But I take this opportunity to give these initiations in the tantric practices, and then I hold this opportunity to bring an introduction to Buddhism much more stronger. So that's His Holiness always say that. So most people who have went for His Holiness teaching, like Kala Chakra initiations and big initiations, like if he is going to give 3 days of initiation, then before that he will give 2 or 3 days introduction to Buddhism. So so this kind of discussion is needed. Also this kind of center, time to time maybe you will request some lamas, gishis to give the teachings. But then more, I think it will be much better. It's like open discussion. Just come and hear and then discuss. So like how do you settle? How do you bring an antidote in a Buddhist way? That within kind of students, the members of this center, if you could do it, that will be much more beneficial. Why I'm saying this, I have a great example, because most of you have read Heart Sutra. In the Heart Sutra, the biggest teaching, we always think emptiness. Wow, wonderful. Yes, that's a very, very profound teaching in there. But one thing most important that we have to kind of understand the depth of this teaching, the Heart Sutra. If you look at the Heart Sutra, Buddha gave a direct teaching in this sutra. There's only 2 words that he says. That it says, well said, well said. That's it. If you look from the beginning of the sutra until the end, where Buddha says, well said, these are the discussion between students. So Buddha will not speak anything. He will just listen. And then through his kind of a blessing, the students will discuss. And then there was like end of the discussion, then Shariputra looked at with a little bit of like hesitation to accept the Avalokiteshvara's comments on his doubts on emptiness. And then he just looks at the Buddha, and then Buddha said, well said, to the Charisi, Avalokiteshvara. Then the sutra finished. So now it's more like students, they are doing homework. So that's very necessary. So if you look at the Four Noble Truths, before Buddha giving Four Noble Truths teaching, he gave a very good teaching, which he said, I have found something. I found that something in this world nobody has found. I found it. But now if I try to explain it, nobody can understand this. So for that, it's better not to say anything. Let me continue with my meditation. That's his biggest message. I call Buddha is such a great master, and he really know how to advertise. Because how you will catch the attention of this movie, we need to have a teaser and a trailer like the Buddha, because he has so much respect to what he's going to deliver to us. And then he thinks we need to earn it. So unless we don't earn it, even we try to eat it, we will not digest. So to find the preciousness of the teaching, Buddha has already given this teaching. So now I sit down here and I will tell you the importance of the emptiness. I can say this for like hours and hours, which you might not find anything useful from that. So if I say I found the emptiness, oh, that's really helpful, really helps me, then you start to be this curious. You just really want to know how that really happened to you. How this will happen to you is, as Buddha himself said, what is the best motivation? There are lots of different types of motivation. The best of best motivation is the motivation as a patient who is desperately looking for a medicine. That is the best motivation to get the teaching. So now, when you try to explore, to find the teachings of the Four Noble Truths, unless we don't have a quite good understanding of suffering, the truth of suffering, the origin of suffering, we don't have a quite knowledge on that, how much you say emptiness is so great, bodhicitta is so powerful, that will be little lie. Because Buddha said, know the suffering. That was his first teaching when he talked about the Four Noble Truths. He said, know the suffering. That shows that we don't know nothing about suffering. But we might say, I know about the suffering. Even the animals know about the suffering. That Buddha said, that is very manifest suffering. That we don't need any kind of explanation. But then there are sometimes we might say, in order to bring so much kind of pleasure or have fun or have a kind of a good life, I have to do all this, but somehow it brings lots of suffering. So we know a little bit of the suffering of change. But the thing that is so difficult, where the real Buddhism starts, when it should be very painful for us to hear this, saying our rebirth is wrong. That is such a bad news for us, which many practitioners, they're not ready to hear about this. And that's the reason. That's the reason Buddha said, you will not understand that. That's why it's better not to speak about it. So now, when Buddha described about 3 different types of suffering, the pervasive suffering is the most important. And then, what would you think if the Buddha, even not having faith in Buddha, what would you think if he says to you that your rebirth is wrong? It sounds so bad. Normally, we celebrate our birthday. Happy birthday. That's the best day of ours. That's the best day for our parents to bring lots of joy. You are the reason that I smile today. That's why we say this. For the Buddha, coming to this world, he said it's a mistake. One of my teacher, he would say, either Buddha is wrong or either we are wrong. Something is wrong. So unless we don't talk about on this ground, then we are not talking anything about Buddhism. We are more discussing about, I always describe how to fix the problem in this world, how to fix the problem of samsara. If you say to fix a problem in the world, then it's okay. But to fix a problem in samsara, how does that sound? That sounds, for me, I just found out this funny way of describing, and not a nice way to bring this example, but it's a kind of relevant. So I always say, I want a clean toilet. How does that sound? How much you clean the toilet? But still we say it's dirty. Isn't it? So, like this, when we talk about Four Noble Truths, then we talk about the most important is cessation. Cease. Stop. Period. Enough is enough. The end. We ask for this. We want this so badly. But most people, they don't ask like that. They will do pujas, because most of we here are Indians now. We will do pujas. The pujas to what? To fix the problem in this life. May my business go well. May this go very well. And we wanted to fix the karma. still all the origin of this negative influence, we believe it's there, but then we wanted to fix everything again. So unless we don't have anything to talk about cessation, unless we don't have anything to talk about the method to get a cessation. His Holiness Dalai Lama said it publicly many times, if the Buddha does not have these latter two teachings, which is the truth of cessation and the truth of the the path of the path. What's that? True path, the path. If he does not have these two teachings, he would never teach the first two. His Holiness always says this. And then if you do little research in the Buddhism, except Bodhisattva, the hearers and the savakas, all these practitioners, they will never talk about reincarnation. They will ask, I don't want to reborn again. They don't want any, because reborn means coming back to samsara. I don't want to take a rebirth anymore. So that's called liberation. So if there's no rebirth, no more coming to the suffering, it's the victory. I haven't seen arhats saying like, I want a rebirth, but not a samsara rebirth, but I need rebirth. For that, I want a liberation. No. The only thing, the liberation when they ask is, I don't want to reborn again. That's it, period. So now, how does that come? Way of asking this question, way of this kind of cessation. My teacher would say, when you put on the TV, and when you see all the sufferings, then you will look into the box and then say, oh, that person is suffering. That person is having a very difficult life. Oh, I feel so sorry for them. But if somebody will come and say, that's not somebody's problem, this is showing your future life, then what would you do? That is one of the greatest teaching what my teacher will always remind. Because if somebody come to believe that continuum of the mind, rebirth is there, then the first thing that you would say, even if it's the highest of highest rebirth, and then I need to come down, I'm not going to up, I'm not going down. One of my predecessor, I love the way he, when somebody invited him on Eiffel Tower in Paris. So then he's a largely built body, but not like me. So his sponsor invited him to say, please, now you are near to the Eiffel Tower, So please, let's all go up. Then my predecessor looks on the top of the Eiffel Tower and say, all the point that you go up, then it's to come down. So I had enough of this. You guys go. I want to stop. Very good teaching. So that is a huge teaching, because one of his students called Alex Burson, he's also the translator for him, he called this teaching very strongly. So how much you go up, then you have to come down. Then how much you want to go up? That's it. It's like these days fashion or this market, whatever they're doing, they go just do the many funny things, and then we all go crazy, like, wow, that's good, so great. And then we are going back to the old fashion, the clothes, how we wear, and then also the food. Before the artificial foods become so popular, and there are supermarkets. Now they are like a bio, organic, and then you see the bananas ripening so fast and changing the color black very fast. Then they do, this is so expensive, this is so good for your health. So it all goes back to the original. So so we the whole point of the exploring, the listening, practice, when you think you are following the path of the Buddha, then most importantly, I think we need to remind ourselves, what kind of problem are we going to fix? Temporarily? And it's for temporarily, then you don't need Buddha's help on that. Because then there's out there so many great other teachers and yoga teachers, meditators out there. So the Buddhism, when we always say the first teaching of the Buddha, the most important teaching of the Buddha is the teaching on cessation. That nobody has taught. These methods that he has taught. And then look at his way of giving the life stories, how he's born as a prince, that he has everything. At the period of that time, he has everything. But then, why he's still looking for something else? At that time, many people might think the Buddha is he crazy? He has everything. And then he runs away from everything. So, and then how he, not just running, and then how he find the teaching is more interesting. As we say, he came up, one time what happened when he got fully enlightened, and then one king was waiting for him, and then he heard lots of great things about Buddha, and then he was welcoming Buddha, and then he asked one question: what do you find? That was his question to Buddha. So Buddha's answer was very innocent. He said, I didn't find anything. I lost everything. I lost my wealth, name, and everything. I lost everything. But then I found one thing: liberation. That's how he put it. So, so now the question really becomes is what he has taught, what he has realized, what he has experienced. Do you really need this? I really want that? That we really need to investigate. That's why His Holiness always says, don't just follow the Buddha's teaching because you heard and somebody said it's so good, so great, and then you just listen to that guy. And then don't give a one reason that saying, I might be a Buddhist because my friend says this is so good and I kind of like it. But you need to be very specific that why you are following Buddha's teaching. Not a solid reason saying that my parents, my ancestors, they worship, they take a refuge in Buddha. So one of my teacher would say, the first kind of Buddhist is Buddha himself. But he didn't take a refuge in Buddha. So we talk about three jewels. So he took a refuge, not in the Buddha, but then he took a refuge in Dharma. So the same teacher, my teacher, would say, if somebody really investigate, who really wanted to practice like Buddha, then first refuge should be the Dharma. And then because the teaching, because of that kind of teaching is so relevant, so necessary, not because I like it. When it's like optional, I like it, then you feel like I like it, but I don't want to do it. But once it becomes necessary, I say, I must do it, unless purpose of my life, why I'm reborn as a human, my priority, that will be missing. Then you feel this necessary. Then you have found the Dharma. So now, many of you have listened to so many teachings. For myself, a lot. And now, the most difficult subject when we practice the teachings on the Four Noble Truths, the third one and then fourth one, because we never felt very strongly about cessation. So I think then the practice or the teaching does not go very strongly deep inside our heart. So now the biggest question to ourselves will be, how are you going to do it? So it's when we talk about awareness, mindfulness, I think we really need to see whether are we suffering or not. And then unless you cannot answer that question, unless you don't feel I am burning, I am dying, I'm getting sick, all this you cannot say. You don't have that kind of have this position. You cannot hold to that position. And how much you say, I take a refuge. And how much you say that Buddhism really helped me. It's not going very deeply as what you describe. It is not very strong statement. But you don't need to force it because forcing yourself, it is not healthy. The one trick is when you find antidote, sometimes antidote much stronger, then there's two ways, First, maybe you feel, I have this sickness, this kind of suffering, and more urgent than you feel to find the antidote. That's one way to find. But the ones sometimes, what His Holiness will describe is you try to investigate more on the teachings of Buddha, then more you feel like, wow, this teaching is so relevant, so great. Then with this kind of studying on the antidote, you will try to look into, does this antidote, is it really directing towards your emotions, your negative emotions or ignorance mind, so on? Then it becomes like a mirror looking into that. That is why His Holiness says, first people, generally, even not Buddhists, they can explore like this. So that's why he put the most of the interesting topic of the Buddhism, emptiness, into the Buddhist philosophy. Now there's a big debate in there. So this emptiness business, that we need to be super careful to investigate. Like if you go through Heart Sutra, then you kind of think like, yeah, it's actually there's no truly existent by its own. I can just feel it. That many people who heard about emptiness, they will feel like, yeah, that's really true. For an example, you're looking at me. So if I ask you a question, how do you know me? So then the answer is, I know through your 5 aggregates. How you talk, how you feel, how you describe things, how you distinguish between that and that. So you might say this, but then Buddha in the Dhammapada Sutra, he explained very well. He says, people say they know me. And then the evidence is my aggregates. If somebody is giving a reason that they know me through my aggregates, I call them, they don't know me. That's really surprising. That's really surprising. So it confuses us, actually, isn't it? 100%. If you go to the immigration and you show a passport and you tell this passport does not identify me, the immigration officer will kick you out. So similarly, our identity is our 5 aggregates. So it does not symbolizes you. Represents. That's really bad news. So Buddha said, it does not. So now, if you do roughly kind of investigation in this, when would you ask this question? How would you investigate like this? If you're very happy, excited, you won't investigate like that. If you're super, super desperate or kind of a sad or fear, you won't investigate like that. So when would you investigate like this? And even you don't you say, I wanted to meditate on emptiness, and then you meditate like that. Sometimes fear will come out because it's talking about lots of nonsense. And how would you say to the other people like, I does not exist? How would you say this? So that's why I'm saying the emptiness business should be quite serious. So who give the best tip to investigate into the emptiness as a Buddhist? Chantakirti. The Chantakirti, in the entering to the middle way, he says, in the 6th chapter, he says, we should investigate into the emptiness like the yogis they have done. That's it. Then how he describes how the yogis have done, he says, the yogis, when they investigate about emptiness, first they will see all sort of the suffering. Where does that suffering and the faults of the suffering has started from? Then they will just go to the until the root of the samsara, which is the self-grasping. Unless you cannot point your finger to the root of the samsara is the self-grasping, how much you investigate about emptiness, that is not going to make any sense to you. So most important, first we really need to understand that the root of the suffering is the self-grasping. We say very softly, we say, what is the center of the earth? World. Your world. Very easy answer. I. Why your family is important other than other family? Why your country is more greater than other country? Answer is very simple. Very simple. Because I'm the most important. Be honest. We have this. Because when all this war is happening, we have witnessed in our lifetime many wars. But then, how much you say compassion, but is you feel like my country is more important than that country? For sure, there it is. But even we say I'm not biased, but still it somehow stays very strongly inside you, deep inside you, rooted. So Buddha was the only one who can go so deep into this self-grasping attitude. He can move this inside us. So then he will say, how much we say precious I. Where is that kind of I? How would you describe that? In Hindi, subhava, subhav. That's the one. What's the true nature of that I? Who is that I? We don't know. It's a lot more like if that person has so many characters, like performing, like he can sometimes in the show, like in a theater, one person wears female clothes and male clothes and whatever, and then at the last he performs so well, and then the question is, who really is that person now? That is a big question that we forgot to ask to ourselves. We say, I'm important, most important, most important. You feel it. Even you say, I'm not important. Deep inside is so important. But it is okay to feel I'm the most important. Yes. But first, you really need to recognize. That's what Buddha is saying. Buddha is so confused. Many people are thinking Buddha, he really wanted, when even I was very young, I have this kind of I'm a little bit clever. I'm not praising myself, but it's true, because when I read this comic book, I love reading or looking at the comic drawings, and I find it very exciting one in this. So when I see this, Buddha is complaining about the death and the pains, and sickness, and aging, and rebirth. Why? That's very normal. Why Buddha has to escape from that? But I was thinking there might be a better reason than that. Seeing the aging person, it does not complete teaching. Oh, he's aging, I need to be aging. He dies, I will die. That every people knows that. Why Buddha's way of feeling, this way of feeling, very special. What makes this special? Buddha always feel he connects to all this problem has started from something. It doesn't come with like somebody just like a God has created and then it just come up like that. He always felt like I can be master by my own. That's why he, in the sutra, he says, you're your own protector. You can protect your ignorance mind, then nothing can influence you. And sometimes he would say, if you recognize who you really are, then you don't need a guidance anymore. So then he says, if you see the reality directly, experience that, from that you are a guru. You are your own master, that guru. So once you reach on the level of path of seeing, there Buddha describes, now you are your own master. Until that, you are the slave of your ignorance mind. So now, after we finish this, you have to wash your mind. Many people will go back, and myself also. And what I will do, go and then talk with the friends, and then start scrolling. on my mobile phone, looking at so many nonsense things and just enjoying that. But it's more like listening to your stupid mind. But then why you go deeper into this stupid mind, how you describe that? Deep insight, and research and investigate until you could feel that the mastermind is not other than the ignorance mind. So that Buddha, he said, all the teachings, the texts of the Tantra and the Sutra, everything what I taught, for one purpose, is that you can come to realize that what is that self-grasping and how to tame this. So he said, if you can tame this, that's the teaching of Buddha. Unless whatever you do, 100% that's not Buddha's teaching. He decided that already. Almost 3,000 years ago, he decided already. So my teacher would always remind me, saying, whatever you're meditating, going to the teaching, doing rituals, doing pujas, saying so many things about liberation and so many things, but unless if you look into your mind and you don't feel that is tackling towards your self-grasp for 1 minute, 1 second, then you are not practicing Buddha's teaching. You are not following the path of. So there are so many in this world. Normally we say now crazy world, but crazy or not, outside crazy or not, but real, the world, that how you describe your own world, your own experience, your own appearance of this world, that you have to decide. Most of us, we wanted to fix the problem out there, which many great beings, including Buddha himself, couldn't be 100% successful to fix the problem. So who are we to make so perfect? But Buddha, he himself made perfect. He made some of his students perfect. He made His Holiness Dalai Lama perfect. He made Nagarjuna perfect. So we need to go on this line. And in order to do that, so we need to hold to this kind of invisible string that hold to that. This is not other than whatever practice we are doing. Unless you cannot tackle your self-grasping, then you have to decide, I am doing all this so beautifully, but this is not the Buddha's teaching. My teacher, a very kind teacher, which I'm so proud in my life, I found him in my life. He, from a young age, he wants to meditate, he wants to do something, but he really doesn't know that what is the true teaching of Buddha. That's why every time when he meets and then witness some people doing sorts of practicing, he has this big question mark. Okay, he's practicing, definitely, but is this a right practice or not? He has this question for such a long time. But then after he studied with his teachers, then he came to the decision, after almost like 20 years, what he has doing some kind of wanders, and then also doing retreats and doing Vajrasattva retreats and everything. Then he come to the final decision. Up to now, I have wasted my life. Why? It wasn't going through the plan as Buddha has asked us to do, which each and every practices never tamed his self-grasping. So now in this current world, we find so many teachers. We might find so many great lamas. The question really is, how would you describe that person is a right teacher to me? Most importantly, it's not necessary that teacher is a right teacher for me or not. The teaching should be right for you. What kind of teaching? If you, some of my friends will ask so many stupid questions, which I cannot answer. Even sometimes His Holiness say, I don't know how to answer that. They ask so many, because this is kind of urgent for them. All the urgent thing, we cannot answer it. Sometimes other people are much more expert on giving advice on that. We are like a zero knowledge on some kind of things that people ask question to me. But then most important, one, maybe now, until what? 7? 7, it's 8 o'clock already. Yes, so I will say this and stop. A great, I think Dharmakirti here. Dharmakirti, in his Parmana, he said, when he has a discussion with a non-Buddhist, debate, then the other opponents would say, why can you take our teacher as your teacher? Whatever the Buddha can do, our teacher can do it. They have the clairvoyance, they can tell about the future for sure. He can give the same guidance what Buddha has given to you. So why this kind of a difference between your teacher and our teacher? Answer to that is so helpful, because he said, I haven't taken Buddha as my teacher because he can talk about future lives. He knows this and that. He can see from like 100 kilometers. Or even he said, if you wanted to take someone who can see 100 kilometers, then take an eagle as your teacher. So I'm not taking Buddha as my teacher because he knows there are how many creatures in the sea. And he comes to the conclusion. He says, I take Buddha as my teaching because I know urgency, which is my self-grasping, that is really every day it becomes my weakness. So the Buddha has given this teaching, that kind of antidote, which really helps me. That's why I have taken Buddha as my refuge. So that is a really powerful message. Not at that time, but right now, in this period of time, because many lamas, like people like me, who is on the throne, who has a title as a Rinpoche and a big name, some can be corrupt. So be careful. And Buddha has already given you this catalog. His Holiness always says, don't rush, investigate. Now you really know how to take someone as your teacher, guru, and then devotion comes automatically. So, now I will end my talk or the lecture here. It's more my way of finding Dharma in my life, and how my teacher is so kind that I've kind of found. I still don't say that I have found the real profound teaching of Buddha, but I feel like if I have to put some emphasis, put effort, this could be the one. So it's more like I have this GPS and the right direction. So direction could be still a little bit like this, but now I feel like this is my destination, which is quite important because many of us, they don't have that. And then they still proudly say, I found Buddhism. So whatever I just shared with you is, I'm not saying because I'm much better than you or something. I found Buddhism teachings when very young age. Actually, I could say Buddhism came to me. I didn't go to Buddhism. They found me and say, you are the reincarnation. So I could say like Buddhism found me. But I found the real Buddhism when I was like in my late 20s. Before that, I was one stupid guy wearing the robes of the monks, and then really doesn't know anything. But now due to the kindness of His Holiness, and then my teachers. So I felt like this is honest way to share with you guys. So I proudly sharing this teachings which I got it from my teachers. So I'm sharing this with you. I hope this could helpful for you guys. Okay, thank you. So we take the question.
Anybody who's got a question?
Rinpoche, if we don't have a teacher yet or a guru who is, close to us that we can talk to, would you say, like, is that the most important thing to start with? Like, that we should do practices to, and prepare ourselves to meet a guru? Or maybe we do, should that be our primary focus? Or should we continue to get onto the Dharma path?
Mm-hmm.
Or should we do other practices, and whenever the karma ripens, then
so as I said earlier, what Buddha said, the best motivation to practice Dharma is the motivation, like I'm a patient. So patient who really wanted to get out of the suffering, the pain, the sickness, that first thing, they don't rush to find a good doctor. First thing they will feel, hope there is a medicine that I can get out from there. Then secondly, they will say, which and which doctor can cure me? That becomes second. That's why I'm saying we have to find Buddhism, Buddhist teaching, like Buddha has found. The Buddha who does not have another Buddha whom he has taken a refuge and then found a Dharma. He found Dharma and then he became Buddha and he became our guidance. So he repeatedly will say in his sutra saying, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, what is the main refuge? It's not the Buddha, not the Sangha, Dharma itself. So if you could come to this kind of on this kind of holding to this kind of thesis, and then you go out, then you listen to these masters. He might give you this guidance of meditation, breathing exercise, and you could fix your health issues and everything. But would you still say he is my guru? And you are in a going financial problem, and that there is one kind person, a guru, who could save you and give you more money. Would you still say he's my guru? Recently, I went to Kerala, and I've met the princess of the Trivandrum. Yeah, what's that? Trivandrum. So when we had a discussion about Buddhism, and then she's very learned, very respectful, very humble. And then she said, I have a problem these days. When I hear so many people saying, oh, he's my dance guru, and he is my art guru. And every time she listens to this, how they put guru at the end of everything, it's so like a pain. She cannot bear this kind of putting guru into everything. He says, guru should be the one who opens this light, and the darkness over spontaneously goes away. That kind of person should be a guru. Not like each and every small problem you have, relatively you think it's so big, but that's not urgent. That's not that priority. So she comes to the conclusion, the guru should be the only level, this kind of level should only use for the person who can give you the liberation. That's what she said. It was amazing. I went all the way to Kerala. I could say, this is the best thing I have learned from that lady. And that she with some kind of a decision, she says very clearly. So through her statement, it's more like we respect to all the knowledge, all the teachers, but the guru is reserved. Okay, next question.
Rinpoche, what kind of obstacles did you come across during what kind of obstacles did you come across in your own spiritual journey?
A lot, actually. But the biggest problem, to be honest, not finding the right Dharma. Going through kind of a tradition as a culture. And then still I thought like this is Buddhism. And then after such a long time, sometimes strong influence is there. At the moment, I need to remind myself, this is not Dharma. This is not a Dharma. Still I need to do this. But that, after even I do lots of kind of recitations, then I need to restart everything. Because I found there's no Dharma in there. There's nothing about taming your mind at all. And then you just to restart it. Before, I just do it. There's like no happiness in doing this. Like, okay, my teacher is saying it's not a Dharma, I need to restart it. But now, slowly, when I feel like this is going to the right direction, then whenever I try to label as this is not Dharma, then I'm being very careful. I love it. And I'm loving it more and more. So that is a good thing. That is a sign of improvement, I guess. Because if you take a medicine, the doctor says you have to eat, like a Tibetan medicine. If somebody is taking Tibetan medicine, you need to eat it in the morning, afternoon, lunchtime, dinner time, and then you need to put a gap, and then there's lots of disciplines, which we don't like it. And then we start like it's not helping anymore, but I need to do it. But once you see this is really brings some kind of effect, impact on you, then you appreciate it. And each and every time you forget take to medicine, you feel like you missed it. Not like it doesn't matter. It matters. It becomes part of your life. So my main obstacle, I could say, each and every time when I find that piece of the teacher's advice and the Buddha's advice, looking into your life, is it Dharma or not? Then once you find this is not Dharma, even I couldn't say this is Dharma, but first it says it's not Dharma for sure, it gives me a kind of like peace, saying, oh, I know now where to start. Even if I restart it, I know something. To start, it takes, that's another level of little bit effort. But first thing, to fix a problem, a water leakage problem, if you really don't know where that leakage is coming from, it will be so much headache for you. But once you know this leakage is coming from that, and then you cannot fix it, once you found where is that coming from, just knowing that gives you so much kind of pleasure and joy. And then my effort starts. Then it's called joy's effort. Okay. Then, Musa?
Rinpoche, how can we be sure there is such a thing as self-grasping ignorance? And then how can we be sure it's the root of all our problems?
Good question. So, first of all, that self-grasping to say this is the problem. It is a big thing. You cannot come to this directly to the conclusion saying it's a problem. But then, if you could say all the problem, all the things that really connects, whether it's attachment, whether it's the anger, that you definitely could say this is coming because the more you have your that I, big ego. If you could say this, then definitely it is a sign that you need to fix something. The way of you looking, describing that I, for sure. But we are so stupid. If you are angry, if you are strong, have a strong attachment, you normally have lots of excuse. You would say, if he says this, I will definitely become angry. And if you are having the strong attachment, you will say, that girl is so beautiful. The attachment will come. The food is so good. Food guru. Yes, food guru. So this is our life. This is how our excuses are. So that excuse is always making us weak. But if you come to that kind of statement, and then investigation really starts. And then you come to the I, and how would you say how I up to now describe I? Then you will investigate, self-grasping, what is that I? What is this definition of that I? Then it goes into different level. And then this is where the 4-tenet system starts. Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay.
Rinpoche, just follow up from what you said on what is the definition of the I in these very complex world that we are living, and trying to firstly identify dharma and then maybe practice it. Maybe sometimes one is just looking for a little peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start wondering that is that looking for peace also self-grasping? Is that also self-cherishing?
Could be. It's more like you need to be super careful there, I think. What kind of peace are you looking for? Is this same peace what Buddha has when he said liberation, a peace? Is that kind of peace? Or the peace is something, I don't want to hear anything. I need a break. That could be the one. If this is the one, we are so good at it. But that break, that kind of peace will always make us weaker. It's more, I give you one example. If you have an annoying boss and annoying colleagues, and then you want to break, and you had a kind of a 1 month vacation, you feel so happy. So you hang out with your close friends whom you feel so kind of a joy when you see them, hear them, and discuss with them. And then few days before, then you realize your vacation is about to end. So painful. What really spoils you is the short break that you're taking. Because you feel like, oh, I don't want it. But most important, if you really wanted to be strong, it's like, how can I be strong even I am with my enemy? How to be strong even I have annoying colleagues and a boss?
I think if you take your boss for the vacation,
That's good idea, because that's not your idea. That really happened when Adisha is invited in Tibet.
yes,
He came with an annoying attendant. And many Tibetans said, "You wonderful teacher, such a great teacher. Why do you have to bring this annoying attendant of yours?" But then he said, "You all are so kind. He's much kinder. Without him, my practice will be so soft." That's what his answer is. So, not to just a vacation, also he has to spoil your vacation a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Rinpoche-ji. It has been very kind on your part to impart this very profound teaching today. And we will wait for you to come back and maybe give us a 2-day teaching next time.
Okay. Okay. It goes like that, huh? Okay, sure.
And yeah, maybe Nico and I, we will plan it, and
Okay.
we will
Okay, sure.
request you.
Yes.
Yes.
Not- yeah.
So thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
And I think this will help us all on our path.
That will definitely help me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, as Renuka requested, I said okay. Every time when I said okay to somebody requesting me some kind of teaching or some course, the benefit is on me. I don't know that you will prepare something, but I'm going to definitely prepare something, which I'm a bit lazy, but it gives me so much kind of a joy to accept this. So I normally say, I have studied as a student who wanted to pass, who wanted to just to time pass. But few years ago, when I start giving kind of teaching on course, then I studied differently. I study a student who is trying to be a teacher. That's a different level of studying, which is kindness I can see from the of you guys. So which I get the full benefit. So that's why I said, okay.
Thank you. But I want to share with you all that, Rinpoche is so humble. He will not share with us, he will not let us know that actually Rinpoche gave initiations to Venerable Lama Zopa Rinpoche in this life. So,
Transmission.
yeah. So, I think initiations.
No, not initiation.
Transmission?
Transmission.
Yeah. So, Rinpoche, thank you for your humility also. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now this center, very beautiful center, so very deeply rooted and connected with the late Lama Zopa Rinpoche, whom it's very sad that he left suddenly. But the students been working very hard. That's what teacher always wanted to see. This is how all the parents wanted to see in children. So we are doing quite well. So we should really become much stronger. That stronger is not to prepare for a war or something, but it's more like harmony. And then even the difficult period of time comes, we stand strong, doing our practices and giving this opportunity to others. So that's how we need to do it. So, and what is really surprising, because Lama Sabar Rinpoche, I haven't got an opportunity to receive any teachings from Rinpoche, but from the young age when Rinpoche looks at me, respects me, that even some of my close friends, very close friends, they cannot see, because the Rinpoche's level of faith is beyond. Because Rinpoche's faith of, for a simple way saying, if somebody say he's the reincarnation of that, you feel like different body, different way of attitudes, personality, then sometimes you just like, yeah, okay, somebody great master like His Holiness has recognized him as this young kid, as we need to show them respect. But Lama Sabar Rinpoche does not have like that. It's like, this is it. Which is harder to believe. What we believe in emptiness, it's much more difficult. This one is more difficult. So he always been a way he shows this kind of respect. It's sometimes very uncomfortable. So that Rinpoche confidently does that. So when he sees me coming, then he will go do a procession. Oh, like it, imagine like a 13 years old kid, and then Rinpoche almost maybe in the 50s doing prostration. What is going on? So that happened with my life. I was left with this big question mark. Such a great teaching. That is such a great teaching. So anyway, make a good use of this, what Rinpoche has opened the platform, and Renuka and all the staffs here are doing amazing. But still we need to do more, because we have this beautiful teaching we can share. So we should do more strongly. Thank you very much. Okay. Then do the dedication, what we listened, heard. It's not you just heard from me. This is the teaching given by Buddha himself. And we got all this lineage, this kind of teaching coming from His Holiness, Guru Rama Rinpoche and all the great masters. So it comes to the one point where we need to tame our mind and bring a peace in our mind. So then we can start bringing peace in others. This is how the world peace starts. Otherwise, impossible to bring peace in the world. So maybe we can always have some kind of opportunity to practice whatever we practice, that we can preach and make use of this in day-to-day life. So may with this kind of a merit, may His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the great masters live very, very long, and then we continuously can enjoy and practice their teachings, and that one day we can guide others the same that our masters had been doing to us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can we take a group photo?
Sure, sure.
Yes.
Then the online people, thank you. I always forget them.